Are you sitting there right now, looking at that one empty seat at the dining table and just wishing? I feel like I know that look so well, even though I never actually saw it on my mother's own face. She did tell me the story much later, after I was grown. Long before she ever started her family, she went out and bought a picture frame that had spots for 4 children. It sat there for years as three, as a silent wooden declaration of what she knew her family was meant to be. But because I was the last one to arrive, that late surprise, by the time I was old enough to look at that frame, it was already full. I didn't grow up seeing that longing. I grew up as the completion of it. But she spent years, many years, staring at that empty fourth spot, just wondering if I was ever going to arrive. I know for you, sitting there at 45, 45 plus maybe, that waiting feels different. It feels like a massive hurdle you're expected to clear, while the rest of the world watches and wonders why you're even running. You already have the kids. You have a full house and a busy life. And yet you're still looking at that empty spot in your own frame. I know the world is whispering or sometimes screaming the same things you see all over the internet. There's this persistent narrative that doing this now is somehow nuts, or that wanting one more child is a sign that the children you already have just aren't enough. I'll be honest with you, early in my journey, when I was fighting for just my first child, I would see a woman with kids at the fertility clinic and I'd feel that sharp spark of judgment. I'd think to myself, why is she here? Here I am just trying to get to the starting line. But I realize now that's my own scarcity talking, not her truth. Enough isn't a head count. It's a feeling in your gut that the story of your family isn't finished yet. If you go online right now and search for IVF at 45, you are going to find two very loud, very different worlds. One side calls it a miracle, and the other side calls it selfish. The internet loves to tell you that you're being irresponsible with your money, that spending $50,000 on a maybe is basically stealing from your teenager's college fund. And we have to be honest about the hardest part. There is no guarantees. You are signing a check for a possibility. You are entering a process that could take several years of your life, and there is a real chance you could reach the end and still be sitting at that same table with that same empty chair. But it's not just the money they come for. It's actually being an older mom. We've all heard the jokes. The ones about you being in diapers at the same time as your baby, or the couch mom where people assume you'll be too tired to do anything but sit and watch from the sidelines. Then there's the darker side of the stigma, the people who ask, who's going to take care of your child if you die? Or is it fair to even bring a baby into this world where they don't have anyone their age to play with? When we look at these comments through a different lens, we see them for what they are, fear disguised as advice. Over 45, we're used to getting this, so we just kind of ignore it. Yes, you might be 65 at high school graduation, but you'll be a 65-year-old with a lifetime of wisdom that a 25-year-old is still trying to find. Being a couch mom isn't about laziness. It's about the fact that at 45, you know that being present and truly listening is worth more than 100 games of tag that you're too distracted to enjoy. And then there is the hurdle that stays behind closed doors, the one no one wants to admit. What if the chair is only perceived empty for you? What if the person sitting across from you looks at that table and sees a finished family? The internet will tell you that a baby has to be a 2 yeses decision, and logically that's true, but emotionally it's a wreck. When one partner is ready to close the book and the other is still holding the pen, it feels like a betrayal. You're left wondering if you're choosing a maybe baby over a definite marriage, or if you'll spend the rest of your life resenting the person you love because they were the one who kept that chair empty. It's not about winning a debate. It's about the grief of realizing your vision of enough is no longer shared. We can also worry about the third parent dynamic, or if our older kids will resent this baby. But a large age gap can actually be a beautiful mentorship. They aren't losing their childhood. They're getting a front row seat to see how a family fights for what it loves. They are learning that family is something you prioritize, not something that just happens. And for those worried that your biological children won't connect with the donor egg sibling, remember that DNA is just the basement. The shared history, that's the Saturday morning cartoons, the inside jokes, the last name, that is the roof of the house. Your kids won't look at their sibling and see a genetic percentage. They will see the person who belongs at their table as part of their family. If you're still stuck at that table, staring at that empty chair, I want you to do a 10-year audit. This is what I did. In a decade, which will you think about more? Will it be the $50,000 you spent or the person who isn't sitting right there next to you? I may not know exactly how it feels to have a teenager ask why mom is crying over a lab report, but I see the brave intentionality in making a choice that's best for you. Like my mom with her 4-child frame, you are showing your kids that family is built on love and truth. It's a legacy you build with your whole heart.